Good afternoon, my name is Sheldon Brown. I'm the Chief Engineer for the all-new 2024 Toyota Tacoma. First of all, when we think about the compact segment, we cover a pretty broad range of vehicles, right? So we wanted to make sure that we had a powertrain configuration that worked for all of our customers. It begins with what our L4 Turbo I-Force Max. We call that our core powertrain. That's an L4 Turbo paired with an 8-speed automatic transmission. For the folks who are interested in the entry-level vehicle, which will be available on our extended cab, we pair that with a detuned L4 Turbo and also an 8AT. It's also available with a 6-speed manual, as well as the core powertrain. The I-Force is also available in 6-speed manual. And then, of course, for our premium customers that are looking for power and performance, we have the all-new I-Force Max, and that's an L4 Turbo with a one-motor hybrid assist. And this is really the absolute best of all worlds. You have better emissions, better horsepower, better torque, and of course, you have better fuel economy as well. The TNGF platform is absolutely the foundation of this new truck. It is the third truck in the series, both the Tundra, Sequoia, and now the all-new Tacoma. The great part about this is it's a completely box frame, which improves the overall rigidity and the strength of the frame. As well, it has our ladder structure to make sure that we have a good frame that lasts for a very long time. We've improved the corrosion performance, and the great part about this frame architecture is that we're able to use fundamentally the same silhouette and the same frame pitch across all of the brothers. And what we're able to do is actually reduce the gauge based on the strength requirements that we need. Now, you've probably heard about our Dejima technology, which is effectively using laser welded blanks in areas of high stress or areas where we need particularly strong sections. By doing this, we can minimize the rest of the frame general material thickness and use those larger, thicker blanks in those very concentrated areas. This allows us to reduce the overall mass while maintaining exceptional strength. And of course, you know, we're always trying to bring the mass on these vehicles down to improve fuel economy and efficiency. We have taken what we call a multi-material sort of approach here. When we looked at this, we wanted to make sure that we were applying these unique materials in areas that had value to our customer. So for example, on the hood, you'll find is now aluminum. We were able to reduce the mass of the hood by 37%. Makes it a whole lot easier for our customer to open and to manage the hood. If you move around to the back of the truck, at the rear deck side outer, we use aluminum. The tailgate is made out of aluminum. So the tailgate is another area where we were able to take about 30% of the mass out of that tailgate. Makes it easier to lift, easier to open, and overall there's some benefit there. Then the actual rear deck or the deck bed was always an SMC construction. The new one is the same SMC with a 20% glass filler. It makes the deck stronger and about 14% lighter. So how does that impact our customers, you're asking? Obviously the tailgate is pretty self-explanatory, but the deck side and of course, and then the deck bed itself help us reduce the overall mass, which means we can pass that savings along for increased cargo capacity and overall, again, better fuel efficiency to our customers. We have the double cab and now the new extra cab. The access cab has gone away. And let me tell you a little bit about the background there. What we saw was tremendous growth in the double cab sector. All of the growth in the segment was happening there. When we took a look at our access cab, to be perfectly honest, we saw only about, in the last 5 years, roughly the production volume and the sales volume stayed almost flat. And so as we started to look within our own sales distribution, what we recognized is about 50% of our customers are already ordering that with a rear seat delete. That meant they weren't carrying people, it meant they were carrying goods, tools, and other things that they wanted to make this a more purposeful truck for themselves. So what we came up with was this theory, and we said, let's focus then on what we would call the traditional B cab, but we wanted to maximize utility. So the internal development target, we called it B-Max. That's what you'll know as our extra cab. We were able to carry over about 80% of the body structure, which helps us reduce cost. And then, of course, for the rear area, we optimized that rear space and we provided all kinds of fantastic functional utility and storage, which I can't wait for you guys to get a look at because it's really, really cool. Customer access was vitally important. So we had to rethink exactly how we were going to do that package. So the passenger front seat now, kind of going back to an older technology, but re-employing that, we have a fold flat seat. It can function as a basic desk or, for example, a place to put a laptop, but it allows you to reach over and get access to that back area. On the driver's side, we use a tip and slide seat that holds its position. It allows you to get back in there, reach in. You could throw a bag in some storage, All that storage is lockable with one common key throughout the entire truck. Of course, we applied the memory locking positioning on the seat, so just flip it back, it goes right back to your preset seat condition. Anytime we take a look at a new vehicle, I mean, it starts with weighing what I would tell you are our strengths and then of course our weaknesses. And we hear that directly from our customers. And there are some areas that, you know, were loud and clear to us. All of our customers wanted improved fuel efficiency. That was very important in this segment. They asked us to improve some of the drivability to make sure there was a little bit less gear hunting and shifting. So drivability was another core area. We also talked about a little bit better seating position and a little bit more comfortable. So these are all areas that we made sure that we addressed. But probably the number one thing and that we heard above all else was, I've got to be able to fit this truck in my garage. So it was absolutely mission critical as we considered how we were going to extend this wheelbase that we kept the bumper to bumper identical, not a millimeter longer. 5,416 millimeters from the front license plate to the rear of the bumper. It did not change. And that was really important because our customer said, that's why I buy a compact truck, so I can put it in my garage. Now, of course, you will know that we've increased our tread width from an SR5 to the SR5 of almost 3 inches. But again, thinking about how we function in that truck in the garage, we maintained the door-to-door identical. That allows the door to open up in the garage and you still to be able to slip out. So these were core tenets of the overall vehicle package. Speaking to the interior area, of course, one of the complaints again was finding that comfortable position within the truck. A lot of folks felt like they were sitting too low and that their legs were too flat. So in this particular truck, what we did was we raised the H point, so the hip point, up about 30 millimeters. And there's a critical dimension that we look at. It's called heel to hip. So from the heel to the hip, when you're standing, this is sort of that architecture of where your leg is, if it's flat or if it's up. And that was an important characteristic. You take that together with increased telescoping as well as tilt on the steering wheel, and then of course vertical adjustability across all grades. So there's vertical height adjustability in the manual seat as well as in the power seat. Those three together really allow our customers to find that optimal position. And since we raised the H point 30 millimeters, we also brought the roof up 30 millimeters to make sure that we secured that headroom for you as well. Yeah, the Trail Hunter was really a passion project for us. When we looked at our Halo grade vehicles, and you know, everyone knows about the TRD Pro, we're standing here right next to it. It's the OG of Toyota Halo trucks. This has always been about that adrenaline fueled, sort of driving fast, Baja inspired racing. And when we looked at the market, what we found was that a lot of folks were turning to this vehicle for kind of their multi-purpose tool for all sorts of different off-roading. Now, as we wanted to push the Pro to that, you know, what the next generation would be, it became increasingly difficult for us to make a vehicle that was dedicated for nimble, high-speed driving, also be very good at tactical, you know, rock crawling, for example, while heavily laden. Enter Trail Hunter. Trail Hunter is really about that outdoor adventure. And so we saw that there was a spot in the market for both of these trucks. And one of these is going to be based on our Baja inspired racing. The other one is about go far. And it's about that sort of, I'll say, overlanding sort of spirit of finding new places and being able to have a bit of autonomy and to go with self-reliance. And that was really the core tenet of what Trail Hunter was going to be. Maybe more so than any of our vehicles, the other thing that we wanted to do was start our co-branding with strategic partners. And you'll see that, again, across all of our models, but no more better than what you'll see in Trail Hunter. Here's where we took really credible, authentic aftermarket suppliers who brought some of their know-how to Toyota. We worked together to integrate these accessories. Examples of that are our partnership with ARB. You'll see it on the rear steel bumper. Again, working directly with their engineers directly on site, so that we can make an integrated rear steel bumper that still utilizes our blind spot monitor and still is compatible with our rear sonar, for example. These are difficult things for the aftermarket to do on their own, but together we can do those. And of course, we're requiring that they meet all of our quality, dependability, and reliability standards. And that was critical here. So what we hope to be able to do is utilize these partnerships to provide a more integrated package. Trail Hunter was all about building. We're going to do the heavy lifting for you. We want to build the truck from the base up. Suspension geometry can be tricky. we know it better than most of, than because it's our truck, right? And we've got the expertise and the ability to do that. And so what we wanted to be able to do is say, hey, here's a vehicle that you can customize and do anything you want with. We're going to provide you with an integrated group of accessories. And if you want to pick something else, that's fine. Let us build it from the ground up, and you can build it from the top down, so it's your trail hunter. Actually, the Toyota, that's sort of our heritage Toyota grill, and that is dedicated to our Halo trucks. You'll find that on the TRD Pro, and you're going to find it again on our Trail Hunter. Both of these are top of the line, and they're meant to sort of have that authentic, credible, old school Toyota image. Of course, we wanted to have some separation from Pro and Trail Hunter, and so of course you'll see our traditional silver execution of the Toyota, and of course on the interior we replicate that back on the instrument panel as well. On the Trail Hunter, we've moved to a bit more of a bronze. We've matched that up with the wheels, and we wanted to pair that with the new mineral color interior that was available on the Trail Hunter with the yellow piping. Trail Hunter was meant to exude this, again, outdoor adventure. So you'll notice the color palette is much more natural. It looks like stone and outdoor, and it was really meant to be a bit more, I'll say, nature focused, as opposed to, again, our kind of fun, racing inspired TRD Pro. One of the most difficult parts of this truck is really deciding, how to cross this broad range of customers. From the entry customer who is really focused on value and basically, says, hey, I just want a good old-fashioned truck. And we were able to find a really cool way to take the TNGF platform. Obviously, awesome to have the multi-link suspension, but there's a lot of folks out there saying, hey, you know what, I just don't need that. So we brought in a Leaf variant. But then to be able to balance that across all the different grades with all the different powertrains, the mass requirement to make sure that we could have an efficient, safe, and very capable truck was a huge challenge. And honestly, when we presented this to our development team, everybody was dialed in, everybody was committed to it, and obviously I think they did an excellent job. Any chief worth his salt will tell you you're as good as the development team, and your job really is to make sure that you set a clear vision for the truck, and then you basically turn loose some of the most talented engineers and production engineers and our buyers and just everybody along the way. It truly takes a village to build a truck like this, and we're so fortunate to have one of the most talented teams behind it. So yeah.